platform to hang out with us today. We're gonna ask some questions. We're gonna have some fun, but we want you to really be yourself, share your narrative. Because I know I talked to Jamar about his narrative about being I think in his family being the first college person in his family. I think it's correct. But then for you, your mom's background, I always tell her she need to write a book.
Yeah.
You need to write a book. I remember that, one time we was at practice and before we get started, and the car caught a flat. He was like, "Don't tell my mama." You had the whole team out. Look, she had the whole team out there fixing the car. The whole team, all the coaches, all the players was fixing the flat in the wintertime. Fixing the car. So
I remember that. Oh, that was a crazy day.
yeah,
Oh, that
I
was a
was like,
crazy day. I was
yeah.
so scared.
Yeah. I
So,
said, this is for real.
so Deja and Jamar, like Chauncey said, we're low key. We just try to go online and offer some stuff to counter the narrative that people are getting in social media. Specifically around, we want to showcase people that our community can look at and say, I could be that too, because I knew this one girl named, or not girl, sorry, this one young woman named Deja who did this and that, or I heard Jamar's story, because the stories that we need our students, our community here largely are censored out of the usual sources where they should be hearing those kinds of stories. So I'll ask you a couple of questions like who influenced you, who are you now, and how did you get to where you are? Real simple stuff. And then later on, we have another 2 segments of the show that you guys can either stay for, which is the food portion and our sort of parting thoughts, or you can go if you have, I know you guys are probably busy, but it's your call. So at that point, I'll let you know. And then if you want to go, you can. And if you want to stick, you can stay.
Are we partaking in the food?
Yeah, you can. In that, I'll send you a Locale US 31 barbecue sandwich, and I'll inbox it to you.
Is it gonna fit in my mailbox? You know, I live in Glen Oaks. The mailbox is kind of small.
I'll cut it up in little pieces. All right, I'm gonna jump over here real quick and take us up online, and then we'll rock and roll.
Cool.
Okay.
What's up, Deja? How you liking the new position?
It's good. I'm learning so much. I'm meeting with over these last couple of weeks. I just started meeting with students, so I'm super excited about that.
Okay, that's what's up.
Come on now. Come on. I think the hamsters in our Wi-Fi are wearing out.
Uh-oh.
We'll get them together. We'll give them some Jolt Cola. Y'all remember Jolt?
To walk through the woods to the party store to buy the Cherry Bomb Jolt Cola.
And thought you were the stuff too, didn't you? I know.
Yeah. Yep. That, some candy cigarettes, some bubblegum cigars.
Some of that jerky chew.
Listen, for me, it was the magnet earrings.
Oh, yup. I remember those too.
My mom would not let me get my ears pierced, so that was the next best thing I could do.
All right, y'all. We are live on Facebook. So, Chauncey, you want to take us away?
Yep. Hello and welcome to the MCEC Fam Show. I am Chauncey Williams, the coordinator of student success here at MCEC, which stands for Muskegon Community Education Center, the place where the center of your child's education is magnified in a collaborating community. Our focus here at MCEC is community involvement, careers, social emotional learning, and nutrition. What's up, PK? What or who do we have on the show today, fam?
Well, once again, so at some point, our luck may actually fall apart, but I don't think it's going to, because each week we try to grab people and ask them to come on the show from our community. I'm going to let you in just a moment, Chauncey, introduce Deja, but I'll introduce Jamar Ragland. Jamar, again, a person, if you call yourself a Big Red, you know who Jamar Ragland is, because Jamar has been historically and continues to be a mover and a shaker and a catalyzing agent for student success at Muskegon Public Schools. Now, the thing is, he moved off our campus a little while ago, and he'll tell you more about that himself. And so, he's got the Buffies on, my man. So Jamar started with us in some kind of way, but then moved on down the street to Muskegon Community College, where he continues to have an immense impact on students. So I'll hand the next introduction to you, Chauncey, and then we'll get them to tell us a little bit about themselves.
Okay, Deja Hill. I've been knowing Deja a long time. She comes from a great family, a mother, sisters. All success, academics first. Mom did not play. It was respect the coach, respect the teachers. But seeing Deja aspire to what she is today, from not just only sports but academics, it's a great thing. She's attended Muskegon Heights, Orchard View, Kalamazoo Community College, made it All-American, right? All-American, graduated.
I think so, somewhere around there.
Yeah, first team, second team All-American. Went on to Wayne State in the Detroit area, Division II, played there. And now she's a graduate, college graduate. She's back here working with our students at MCC as a success coach to help students understand the rigors of college. And who else couldn't be better but somebody that done did it on the athletic field and academic that comes right from the roots of this city. We're not talking about on the skirts of the city. We're talking about city, from the East Parks, from the south side of the Heights, from being over in the township in Orchard View. He knows what it is. So we're happy to have her back in home and, just to kick back with her. And for me, it's exciting to be a part of their journey, to be in that space where we're seeing her grow. So thank you, Deja, for coming on today.
Chauncey, that was one heck of an introduction, but if you don't mind, Dave, we'll begin with you. And if you'll tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got to where you are now, some of the steps, some of the trials, some of the tribulations, so folks understand and know a little bit about some of the insight into your pathways.
Okay. Yeah. So, I don't know how to follow that. Chauncey just, gave me a great introduction. Yeah. So basically, I grew up in Muskegon Heights, came to Muskegon when I was like 3 or 4, and then started playing basketball when I was in the 6th grade, all throughout middle school, up into high school. Once I graduated, went to KVCC on a basketball scholarship. And then after that was able to play ball there for 2 years, got my associates, and then went on to Wayne State. Played basketball over there for 4 years. And I also was coaching basketball for like 7 years off and on. Started in high school, kind of volunteering for my little sister's school. And then after that, continued to grow. So the reason why I kind of got into this particular job is because it's just like coaching. I'm a success coach. So I'm kind of guiding people and helping them along the way. And on top of that, like I've been through a lot of stuff and I know what it takes to have certain obstacles coming your way, wondering if you can afford college, how it's going to work, be that comparison to your older sisters. I know kind of all about that. So being able to kind of give back and help, it really means a lot. And then this job, Chauncey presented this job to me and I was like, this is like perfect. I've already gave back basketball on the physical side and the nutrition side on, back to my community a little bit. How about I try to touch on some of the kids that, for lack of better words, some people tend to forget about, because every time we try to think about it, we're like, if you play an athlete, if you play a sport or things of that nature, you can make it to college. But what if you don't play a sport? What if you don't do any of those things? Okay, how else are you supposed to get it? So that's kind of where my mindset is with it, just to help those who sometimes think that people forget about them.
So now that you look back, Deja, because that's impressive, that walk. What would you say are the 1 or 2 or 3 things you wish someone had told you when you were 15 or 16-year-old Deja, hooping, going to school, and dreaming big things, dreams that you've accomplished? Mind you.
Yeah. That's tough for me, just because I feel like I actually was one of the lucky ones. I had a lot of resources. So there was so many different things. I can tell you, there's some things I wish I would have taken advantage of. Probably like, and Chauncey will get this, he used to do an Intelligem, which is basically like you're playing basketball, but you're using your mind. So things of that nature that I would have probably used that aspect a little bit more and focused on the more mental part of basketball. I think if I would have used that a little bit long, I could have went further in my basketball career. But as far as like academics or things of that nature, I think for the most part, I would have had someone explain to me diversity a little bit more, because I grew up with people I knew. So once I got to like Wayne State or, my first initial run with KVCC, it was just like, this adjustment is like, wow, And so having someone really break that down to me, I probably would have enjoyed that a little bit more.
So let's just assume now that you're now a success coach and you run into 18-year-old Deja. What might you say around the subject of diversity?
I think for the most part, I would just say embrace it. A lot of times we get so comfortable and we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that was my biggest challenge growing up. I just love staying in my bubble. And I think that for the most part, I would just explain to her, hey, what do you have to lose? You're a freshman right now. You're young, like you're 18. What do you have to lose? And I know it's been done, but to be honest, that's like the truth. I don't really know how else to really put it, but you have the time now to really explore as many options as you want. And hey, if you want to change your careers, why not? You want to go try this class out, why not? And especially being on the scholarship, it's like, now is your chance to do it. So I think I would just tell myself, don't live in so much fear, open up and embrace change.
Have you ever considered running for office, Deja?
No.
Because darn near every sentence and every statement you've made has so much power behind it. So that's good stuff. I mean, it really is.
Thank you.
Get out of your bubble. I mean, I feel like that's going to be my Facebook status for the next month. Get out of your bubble. So, Jamar, same question to you. I mean, tell us about your path and your trials, your tribulations, your successes, your dreams, and how you got to where you are today, and tell us a little bit about where you are today.
Okay, sure thing. A little bit about me. Originally, I'm from heaven, but I was born in Detroit. No, that's honestly, when I say that I'm originally from heaven, that's just me recognizing that I'm here for a purpose. Um, I grew up on the west side of Detroit, youngest of 6 siblings. 4 of us grew up in the same household. Um, First one to graduate high school, I did that at the age of 17. Went to Grand Valley State, got my bachelor's in criminal justice. But when I first got there, I struggled a bit coming from Detroit, predominantly Black city. Um, wasn't used to the culture shock, or of course, I wasn't used to it. So that was a big adjustment for me. And then an academic rigor of Grand Valley, which is a phenomenal institution. So basically, to get over that, I joined a few organizations and student clubs, Black Student Union, Muslim Student Association, African Student Council, a lot of things to help me get that social acclimation, which I was lacking initially. That affected me academically. And then from there, it was, I'm not going to say it was smooth sailing, but I had to get my mind right. And once I got my mind right, I got my grind right, and I finished and graduated on time, and then went ahead and got my master's in higher education, student affairs leadership. Did all of that at the age of 23, and then moved to Muskegon to work at Muskegon High School as the college advisor. So huge shout out to all the AmeriCorps service members. Your work does not go unnoticed, from one alum to other members, including you, Deja. So, like I said, I was at Muskegon High School for 2 years. I wish I could have stayed, but not all good things last forever. I enjoyed myself. I grew, I developed, and then transitioned to Muskegon Community College, where I was an enrollment services representative, AKA a recruiter. I loved it, was in that role for 3 years. And I was still interacting with Muskegon High School as well as other local high schools. It just, in that position, it allowed me to grow once again, but also just see so many different parts of the state. I never been up to Hart prior to this role, Shelby, Ludington. So I'm just seeing different parts of Michigan and experiencing restaurants that I never experienced before, because I love to eat, and I'm still working on bringing my 6-pack out the cooler. So that's, definitely one of my initiatives for 2021. So being in that role for 3 years, I've recently transitioned to the mentor for the Early College Muskegon County program. My main role is to help those students that are in the program be successful, and carry out that goal of graduating with not only their high school diploma, but their associate's degree as well. So yeah, I'll digress. I'll turn it back over to you, PK.
Well, there are two things that I think are important messages to be sent, which is Deja saying, get out of that bubble. You can't live in isolation. You can't live on an island for very long and achieve your dreams. The second piece is what you hit on, Jamar, which is connecting relationally with other people to help scaffold your journey to get where you want to go. Because no one wants to suffer alone. Will you talk just a little bit about how those connections helped and served you to achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Absolutely. So just to go a little deeper, so I'm a social person, right? I would be trying to interact with people, specifically of a different race. No secret, GVSU is predominantly white. I think it was a culture shock, not only for myself, but for those white individuals. It's their first time in college. And then, when you come from an environment as I came from, we speak a certain way, we behave in a certain way, we have certain mannerisms, we have our own slang. And it took me a minute to understand that that's just something that they weren't used to. So rather than internalize it and take it personal, you know, that was an opportunity of growth for me. You look at the nation is majority white. So being a black person and realizing my position, I had to understand that I had to make some adaptations. And that's important in maneuvering through life. Like Deja said, you can't just stay in that bubble. And staying in that bubble for me was okay. Or had I stayed in my bubble, I wouldn't have been at Grand Valley. One of your earlier questions was, what's some of the influences you had? Well, for me, one of the motivators for me to stay at Grand Valley and to finish was, of course, my mom. Being a single parent, I'm like, can't let her down. I got my siblings, what I'm saying? Even though they never made it to this level educationally, they were still on me. And then my barber, shout out to Tyreek Parker, he made a deal with me. In addition to being, a father figure, he told me, he said, as long as you're in college, I'll cut your hair for free when you come back. So, back then you may not see it now, but I had the wave spinning. Every time I walked past somebody, they was getting a little seasick. So I had to give them some medicine. I kept that on me. But no, so it's really just understanding, okay, I want to get to this place. What is it going to take for me to be successful? Okay, I'm having troubles acclimating socially. So let me join these organizations. You know what I'm saying? On the academic front, okay, coming out of high school or all my time in K through 12, I really didn't have to study and I still got good grades. When I got to college, it was a different story. So I had to adjust. Okay, I can't get by, what I'm saying, waiting to the last minute or just thinking that my intellect or where I was at intellectually was going to carry me over. Now I had to link up with the tutoring department. Okay. It was free, utilize that. And, step my game up, talk to my instructors, let them know I'm struggling, building those relationships. Once I learned the game, okay, a lot of it is based on the relationships that you build with people. And then they'll figure out, sometimes they'll just offer. You don't even have to ask. You can just say, hey, I'm struggling. And, based on that relationship you built, they're going to try to stand in the gap and help you overcome that deficit. So
You just said something. Me and Tom was on a Zoom yesterday with the Talent 25 and Miss Large, and they had a diversity group. And they had two words they mentioned. They mentioned apologizing. But what was the other P word, Tom?
Permission and apologizing.
And those are two things we deal with when we go to these new environments. Going to a primarily white university, you find yourself like apologizing for not having, and then just being in those positions and like, okay, is this okay for me to act like this? Or is it okay for me to be what's accepting as you walk into these new cultures? And sometimes if you suppress a thought or an idea of yourself being bigger than what it could be, you could be lost in the whole shuffle. So, but we find that a lot of students apologize for not being perfect or having life happen to them. They're like, no, this is what life's supposed to be. Like what you said, when you're not scared to ask for help, that's the growth. And that's the picture I got behind me today. Just I got a statue in my room, and I was like, I found this picture. That's what it's all about. Filling in the gaps and just trying to figure out, like, okay, do you need a helping hand? Do you need somebody to show you the path? What's the growth aspect in your mindset? And you don't have to apologize for having a single parent. You don't have to apologize for the car breaking down. We understand that life happens to you, and we can't just say you can't be part of this, or you can't have this greatness happen in your life because you don't have certain things. And I find students doing that, and I can relate to it, but then we have to learn how to grow from it, but by making those connections. So I appreciate that. You just helped me make a connection and hearing it from your mouth just recently.
So Jamar answered the second question. We have another little an opportunity in just a moment. But Deja, when you look back, who's that person or some of the people who were critical in your movement forward?
Critical? That's funny. That's what I said. Like, I think that I was one of the lucky ones, because I think for the most part, critically, I didn't have too many like adults in that department. I think it was just more so internal. I was kind of my own worst critic for the most part, because I was the only one that could really influence me. Because to be honest, I've never really cared what no one thinks. So for me, it's just like, okay, if you don't like me, so what? But as far as like older, I had like a couple of coaches where me and the coach just didn't get along, and I couldn't understand it, because I'm like, I've had so many coaches tell me such positive things. What are this negative stuff that you're mentioning? Like, but in the end, it kind of helped me do a lot of self-reflecting and just like, okay, despite the fact that I might think the person's a hater, what are they really saying? You know, are they really digging deep, and what are they saying? Are they making sense? Okay, you're right. I probably could have did this better. And then just growing from it.
I think they was a hater, Deja.
Yeah.
And since you brought that word up, Chauncey and Deja, I won't say anything about Charles, aka Bobo Chapman, who's trying to heat me on.
Sorry.
So I'll just move on down the road, as Marie Williams would say. I'll just stay in my lane. And I have a hard time with that when I feel like I'm a 1978 Ford LTD. But aside from that, Jamar, talk, if you're willing, tell us a little more about that person who was influential on you. Maybe that gentleman who was your barber, maybe your mom. What were some of the things that they equipped you with, or told you, or impressed upon you that helped you press on?
Man, just in addition to all those folks, like there's plenty more. I mean, I learned early on, right? People say that I was wise beyond my years, but I learned early on that I don't necessarily have to experience everything negatively on my own. I can look at other people's experiences and apply those to my life, to save me some time, some heartache, and some other things. So with that being said, like, just realizing, the environment I grew up in, that was motivating for me. I mean, I grew up on 7 Mile and Field, and on my block there was only like 2 or 3 folks that actually went away to college. And so, I use that as motivation. You know what I'm saying? So my mindset was a little different, to whereas I could experience or see negative things and, kind of turn it into a positive. So one of my life mottos was to always defy the odds. So, you know what I'm saying? Being a Black male from Detroit, around that time, the graduation rate for Detroit public schools, or in the Detroit city, was less than 50%. So, I mean, it's just so much to actually pinpoint. But for me, it's just really the mindset that I had developed early on, to say that, I won't be deterred. I'm going to use everything as motivation to the best of my ability, to maneuver. So
So I have one final question, because I can't help myself. Let's assume for a moment that we are able to hack into the government, and we're able to send one message via emergency message, like everyone gets on their phones when they're sent. If we could send one message to teenagers today on an emergency alert system, which basically implies they'd actually see it, Deja, what would be the one message you would want delivered to teenagers in 2021?
Well, that's hard because it's so, so this is a interesting couple last year, but I guess for the most part, I would say be smart. You know, have fun, but be smart. I feel like a lot of times, and I say that very loosely because I mean just embrace what you're going through right now, but also understand that it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to determine what's going to happen even a month from now, you know. But at the same time, we are in a situation where we follow so many trends and so many things on the internet. And so I would just say be smart in the fact that live your life that way, but at the same time, don't get so carried away that you overwhelm yourself, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Jamar, your emergency alert that goes to all teenagers, what's it going to be?
Uh, since I play chess, I'm in no means the best chess player, but any chess player out there knows, you're always supposed to make your next move your best move. And that comes with having foresight. A lot of us are in negative situations, negative circumstances. You have to have the foresight to look beyond that. A lot of times when we're in those negative spaces, we make decisions based on those places, which further puts us behind. So having that foresight can kind of map out a role plan to help us put ourselves in a better situation. So make your next move your best move and take care of your mental health.
That's good stuff. I mean, I think we need to send out 2 emergency alerts once Tom figures out how to hack the system and get us in line for that. I hope we don't get censored. I hope I don't get kicked off Facebook for that. But I'll make sure Frida Day keeps me from getting kicked off Facebook. She knows everybody. Fellas, any questions that we missed asking?
I want to ask one. It's being able to see, for one, 2 people of brown you, and just seeing that the expectation you go through every day. So when you think about your work day, the 3 to 5 tasks you do, and what do you like about your job? So because for our students, a lot of times when they see somebody, like they see Chauncey at the school, but they don't know that I got a job expectation or I did some things before. So just give me 3 to 5 duties that you do in a day and what you like about your job and what you don't like about it. And both of the spaces you're in right now. Because students see you, people see you. It's what does she do? Oh, she's a success coach at the college, or he's just a counselor. I'd love to have what that entails, because a lot of times you get a big old job expectation sheet, have all these duties on it, and somebody can articulate what that looks like in 3 to 5 things that you do in a day. It would help abundantly for someone. So
Yeah. So I guess for me, I help students kind of just, I guess to sum it up, it's like become successful. So I create success plans, which is basically like a financial plan, academic plan, time management, things in that department. I also help with registering for classes. I help them kind of get it. And I guess the final thing would be just develop good student habits. Just becoming just a better student overall, as far as going to class, study skills, all of that stuff. And then I guess the thing that I'll say I dislike the most is just the paperwork. I've never been the type of person to just sit down at a desk. So this is just new for me. So I'm used to just go. If I'm gonna talk to a student, we're probably gonna be running or talking and have just run or something like that. So yeah.
all right. So what do you like about it the most, though? What do you like?
The most, I love the fact that I get to help them. Like I just had a student today who's young and a freshman, and I'm just looking back and I'm like, I was there. I was right there. Like, and it just seemed like yesterday. So being able to pass on the knowledge that I've gotten over the years is just, it's amazing to me.
Do you find yourself sharing your experience with students, like your path?
Yeah, yes and no. So I haven't gotten too deep to where I have to just break it down like I kind of did today. But without their knowledge, it's kind of like everything I say is my path. All the things that I'm passing on to them, I've definitely experienced. And a couple of times I'm like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. Or I did this when I was in that situation and it helped me out. So try it that way. And if it doesn't work, let's find something else for you.
Okay. Well, thank you. Yes, you are making us proud. Definitely. It's been in your life. And this is what I like to see going through the journey, not only athletics, but being able to connect ladder, where if me, Tom, Paul, or Brent has a student and you say, oh, Deja at the school, you can hook up with her as your success coach. I know her. I know what she's about. And for them to see that you come from this environment is great. So Jamar, the same question to you. 3 to 5 things you do in a day. What you like about it, what you dislike about it.
So one of the things that we're doing right now, so we just rolled out our application for next year or for next school year. Like I said, I work for early college, Muskegon County. For those of you who do not know, if you are currently a 10th grader, this is just for you. Long story short, it's an opportunity for you to take college classes as a high school student. Your high school graduation is delayed for a year, but all that time you're taking college classes. And then when you officially graduate, you'll graduate with both your high school diploma and associate's degree, saving a ton of money. That way, if you are not in 10th grade and you're below, put this on your radar. So we moved our paper application to electronically. So I am manning that process. So that's one of my daily tasks. If you're interested in applying, we have a priority deadline of March 31st. Get in contact with your high school counselor, and they will get you that form to get the application. One of the other things I do is I meet with my supervisor regularly. We're developing a tight-knit relationship, just to keep each other up to breast, what we have going on with our respective groups. And then really just troubleshooting student issues, whether it's, an issue with the bookstore or something's happening with their class, or they don't have the technological capabilities, what I'm saying? Anything that I can do to assist them in my capacity as the mentor, that's what I'm doing. So that's a part of my daily task. What I love the most is simply that, just assisting people. I would consider I have my mother's heart, which is very giving and compassionate. So in that regard, when I'm helping students, because I remember being in that position as a first generation college student, trying to navigate things. So that's my favorite piece. So far, I really don't have any dislikes except for, when we have to excuse a student from the program.
Yeah, that's hard. Yep. So I want to say this. So we got Deja here, and I remember us going through the process of trying to find a student. I remember Mr. Ellis came to me. You don't even know Mr. Ellis. He was like, Chauncey, you know somebody? I was like, I got to give me a couple days and think. So I called a satellite of all satellites, Free Today. Free Today was like, you know Deja? She around? She's like, you need to call her. You know how Frida is. She like, radar. Student in this vicinity. So her radar locked down on you, Deja. Jamar.
Oh, yeah.
Me and him talked. And I was like, I think this is the perfect person for this opportunity. So you never know the pathway people have. And that's just how I am. The team knows I like to get credit where it's due, because I'm the picture behind me. I've never done nothing by myself. And that's why we call it MCEC Fam. But we appreciate you coming on this platform. And me and Jamar, we always had lunch together. We got COVID messing with us, brother. So I pick your brain. You can't pick mine. We're going to find a way to get through it so we can make sure we can help kids be successful. But we truly appreciate you guys and having a platform for our students to see people that look like them, that come from the community, and just us sharing these opportunities is definitely a blessing. So I appreciate you once again, Deja. I'm proud of you. Jamar, I'm proud of you. You went from coming from the high school to like, I see president with the bus on one day.
What's that saying? Never forget where you came from. What I'm saying? It's definitely, I just want to tell everybody, like, it's okay to have those pieces and remnants, what I'm saying? Those pieces that made you who you are, where you come from, but also know that that ain't all there is to it. What I'm saying? There's more to life, but I just always want to be a representation, a positive one. And so despite what the naysayers say, what the statistics say, let's get it. So I just want to commend you all on the work that y'all are doing. I know y'all doing some innovative things over there at MCEC, and I know there's a name change coming, so I'm excited about that. But just keep doing what y'all doing, including you, Deja.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. Like I said, thanks for having me. That's awesome. And yeah, I'm so excited to be a part of this and just keep going. I'm so excited to work with you guys. Thank you.
Well, I know I have to always mention a little something about church in every episode, and I can't help myself. And I'm just going to say the discipleship I heard today, the walking out the message, the walking out what's right, the being willing to step in and be a bubble burster for people, the willingness to create a relational structure, Jamar, and I know you've been behind that, because MCC appears to be putting things in place to reach out to the whole community to figure out how to be that change agent. And I just can't say enough for those specific efforts. I'm just going to say this, Jamar. It's always been awesome. You supported my daughter, you support other people's daughters and sons, and always with the eye to help them achieve what they want to achieve, not with an eye to try to put them into some little pigeonhole. So I appreciate you, Deja. I'm sure we're going to, MCEC and MCC, we're going to be, you're the bubble breaker, right? You're the bubble burster. So when people need to have that bubble burst, we're like, you better call Deja and let her put you up on stuff. So we're going to move into our next section of the show. I want to thank you for coming on. You guys are certainly welcome to stay. You're welcome to add any words we didn't ask or you'd like to add, but the choice is yours at this point in the show.
I'll just be coming for my sandwich. You said you putting that in the mail, right? Express?
No, I'm going to inbox it on Facebook.
How am I eat a sandwich in a
That's why I said it was no calorie.
Oh man, I'm gonna go make myself something to eat.
All right. Thank you, Jamar.
All right, thank you. Y'all have a good one.
You too now.
Chauncey, I love the shades. I can't get past that. I'm sorry. As soon as I noticed it, I was like, yep, that makes sense.
I'm just trying to follow an example. You know, in our community, when people see trends, they like, hey, I got to be able to, I got to give me some buffs too. So it's
Those are very befitting. I love it. But yeah, no, again, thank you guys so much. And Chauncey, my support system has been amazing on this journey. Mom, sisters, all of them, you and everybody else. So I'm just very grateful to be able to have this opportunity. And I thank you guys for allowing me to talk a little bit. But yeah, so I'm going to go meet with the student though. So I'll catch you guys later.
Thank you.
There's more to come for you. See you later.
Awesome. Bye.
Thanks, Deja.
All
Well,
right.
I tell you what, the overreaching deal there from like an adult, like if you are, a young person, there was tons and tons and tons of great information there, right? But if you're an older person, okay, in a position to where you can be a mentor and impact other people, both of them made comments to suggest that there were people in their lives that impacted their lives that didn't even know they did it. And that's a huge lesson in that you don't have to do much to impact others. I'm sure that Jamar's barber saw Jamar, a good kid, tried to help him out because he was trying to do the right thing. He may not fully, maybe he does, but he may not fully understand the gravity of just hooking him up because he was trying to do the right thing. And us as adults, all of us, obviously the four of us here, but everybody watching, you can be such an impact on a young person just by, doing little things and showing them, the way to go or being kind or things like that. I mean, I think that's a huge lesson in investing in our youth. And I always got to sneak in, a little philosophy before we get to grubbing. Okay. That's kind of my style. I'm sorry. So we, to the food. So we've been circulating local eateries. We have been busting down the doors, trying new things. We tried the Curry Kitchen. I had something else on deck today that would have stretched the palates of my three distinguished companies family on the MCEC Fam Show. And unfortunately, the person, the business I wanted to do initially, they don't open till noon and the show starts at noon. And like they say in showbiz, the show must go on. And so we moved to another local business, which I adore. Okay. And I have been eating there for years and years and years. It is US 31 barbecue. And anybody from Muskegon County, okay, or Muskegon, the city of Muskegon, it is the national culinary treasure of the city of Muskegon. The rotisserie meat shaved to perfection with the cabbage-based relish, lovely placed on the bun with some of the best fries you'll get. You know, the nice thing about these fries is they're crispy on the outside, but a nice little fluffy, starchy pillow on the inside waiting for you. So what I did, okay, is I got the pork sandwich. Now they're located on Muskegon Avenue, right there by the city hall, and they've been around forever. I remember as a kid, my grandma taking me there, my dad, you know what I mean? Like that was the place when you hung out with somebody older than you, you know, an older elder or whatever. It always seemed like it was 31 barbecue. That was the place you went. They got amazing shakes, pork barbecues. Check these guys out and support them. Totally locally owned, totally family owned. And they make all their own stuff. And so this is thebomb.com. I'm not even going to hold you up. PK, what did you get?
Well, first off, I'm going to say this. Marie Williams, you know, I'm going to have to talk with her because first she tries to usurp our guest to come over to MMS for lunch, knowing full well that they're having a school lunch over there. And then she goes on to say that they're having pickle day and they're eating pickles. Now who just eats pickles for a meal, right? So I want to thank you, Brent, for picking up these sandwiches. These are some little beauties. I think this is the beef, and you can see it's filling up the package, and it's got the sauce. It's still hot, and it's been sitting for a little minute. I mean, and the bun is nice and steamy, and it's served in foil. Now, I've always liked these foil wrappers because they keep my khakis from turning into camouflage pants, right? Because the problem is with most sandwiches you try to eat in a car, your khakis end looking like they're camouflage from all the spots, right? So I'm gonna tear into this just a little bit. So Chauncey, why don't you say what you got?
Got the same. I got the beef. I got the beef sandwich. It's my man. I haven't had one probably since I was a little kid. So when I seen it today, because my father used to want to go, you know, like, you know, old schools, they always go to the old school spots. But I did get something. I got a milkshake, a strawberry milkshake, and it is handmade, and it was thick when I got it. So I was like, uh-oh, Mr. Quick got some competition because Mr. Quick got another thick milkshake, but and I had the fries, so the fries are almost gone, but I haven't bitten the sandwich yet, and I'm about to dive in and enjoy it.
This is why I love the Muskegon Public Schools family, right? Because Marie Williams is just not going to let me off the hook. Now she's calling me out for not being on my diet. Marie, I'm taking one for the team. I'm contributing to the common good within the public square.
It's cheat day today, I guess.
I'm going to say this. If you go down and get US 31 and you go to smash in the car, be careful because they use toothpicks to hold the sandwiches and the fries together. And you don't want to get one of these bad boys lodged in your throat. So Tom, tell us about your num-nums.
I'm doing the same thing, pork sandwich, but I'm de-sandwiching it. So going bunless, and it is still absolutely delicious. And you can't beat French fries like this. You just can't. So absolutely delicious.
Now, I'm gonna jump my segment in front of yours if you don't mind, Tom. And
Go for it.
Because this one cracks me up. Because when I was little, if we were invited to a family get together, someone would invariably say, "We're having barbecues." Now, what did that mean to all of you guys if someone said, when you were little, we're having barbecue?
The grill gonna be out.
Grill, brisket, ribs, that kind of stuff.
Chicken legs, wings.
Duck
Yep.
wings, the barbecue.
Something on that grill.
Yep.
Because when I was growing up, if someone said they were bringing barbecue, it meant they were bringing sloppy joes. For real, for real. And
I do have to defend because I think I've had something from Brent that he claimed was a sloppy Joe, but it was awfully close to barbecue.
It was a homemade barbecue sauce, sloppy Joe. See, one of the things that I love that we used to do over at the Angel Building is on the seniors' last day, all of the staff would cook for the students. And everybody brought a dish to pass, and we sat and broke bread like we did every day at MCEC. We sat and broke bread every day, which is part of the reason what made it so special, right? Just a big old family, all of us, all 90 students and all the adults. And I didn't just bring the average sloppy Joe. That wasn't Manwich, all right? It was good. And this is good. This is shaved meat. To PG's point, it's shaved meat cooked on a rotisserie. As you drive by, you can see, just the hunks of goodness there, spinning and oozing and doing everything nice. I went to www.itaintbad.com and bought a sandwich today. So check these guys out. US 31 Barbecue. Okay. I mean, some of you may have never been there. Hopefully you all have. But it's another local business that desperately needs our support during these trying times. And they make one heck of a sandwich. You won't be disappointed.
Price was good too. I mean, I looked at the price. I was like, hold up. Is that like from like the 1990s type of prices? But price was good. Food is good. I can't complain. But when you said the manwich was barbecue, that's a struggle meal in the hood. You get a bag of potato chips, put it on top of the sandwich, slice of cheese. If you got some buns, you got your food stamps that day. If you got your buns, you got slices of bread. You got the back end of the bread and the other piece trying to make a sandwich. It was a struggle sandwich. You call it barbecue.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not against manwich. I don't need their people calling my people. I'm not against manwich. I've got multiple cans of it at home right now. We had it last week. Okay, I'm not against it. But there's also just something else too. Just that little bit of love when you make it yourself and you figure it out. And then you can control what's in it. And that's why I love making my own. And then you can just make it, the way you like it.
I'm with you. So Tom, what's our social emotional learning for today? Seeing how you just put some fries in your mouth.
No, it's amazing. Every week we get together, and even in all our work calls and work Zooms, we're meeting people all across the state, all across the country, hearing about what they have going on to bring career development to young people and to make it real and relevant. And the same themes just pop up every time. And Jamar said it earlier. He said, don't take it personal, right? Quit taking things personally. And so that in social emotional learning and having healthy relationships, that's a big part of it, is to realize that not everything that is done to you is about you. And the way people act and the things they do are a whole lot more about them and where they are at that hour, minute, day, and what they have going on than they are about your relationship with that person. And so some things that happen to you, they have nothing to do with you. You just happen to be there at that spot at that time, and you got what you got. And so, there's kind of two ways to do that. One is for you personally to have that check, and before you go off and you take it personally and react, to just take a minute and breathe. And the other thing is, as you are interacting with other people, to just be aware and check yourself before you go out and do something out of character, and to take that deep breath before you go off and just be gentle with yourself and with each other. And then the other kind of part to go with that is the skill of listening to understand that when we're in a conversation and we're having an interaction with people, that we put our energy into listening to understand that other person's point of view, to validate that other person's point of view, to bring that person's experience into our experience, rather than just listening to, tell a better story or one up them or minimize their experience or kind of blow them off. And I think both in Deja's and Jamar's stories and their events and the things that they were relating to and connecting with, those came through pretty strongly. And so those are the two kind of nuggets for social emotional learning, and just being aware of our relationships and how we need to work really hard and consciously to maintain good, strong ones.
I think too, Jamar hit on something that we've talked about before, which is called cultural wealth, right? It's knowing someone who knows someone to get where you want to go, and coming out of your bubble to be able to reach out, to reach up. And I think that never stops, does it? I mean, that's not just because you're in college. It continues well after college. I mean, when we want to reach out and figure out how to dovetail programming between MCEC and another program, we reach to the people we know, or the people we know who know people, right?
Mhm.
So relationships are a strength. I mean, it's a treasure trove that's better than gold, because oftentimes, even when we think the chips are down, we know someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
When we don't, and sometimes we don't even know the best question to ask, but we go to a person, that person delivers us to another person who delivers us to another person. So we ultimately get what we want, or what we need, or whatever it is to achieve our dreams, right?
Mhm. Yep.
It's a
Yep.
quote. It's a quote that I keep on finding myself coming back to every morning in my journal, and it's two of them. One of them says, "Other people's money is great leverage," right? But then it said, "Other people's experience is even better leverage." So it's like if you can have somebody else's experience, and they can tell you how they can save you a month, a year, or make a better decision because you have their experience to leverage what you're doing, it's better than money in your pocket. Because a lot of times they say a fool and his money will soon part. But I don't think a fool and somebody else's experience helping you build will soon part. I haven't read that anywhere. But like you said, that relationship equity I love it because it just is it's something that's compound interest to me. It just builds. It just keeps on growing and building those experiences.
Oh, so basically, anyone in Muskegon who might think MCC has a path for them, and the paths at MCC there are a multitude of them, right? From
Yes, sir.
certificate programs to things that have to do with construction or with welding to traditional 2-year programs to prepare for a 4-year college, right? They have a million things you can do. Now, everyone who watches this will know 2 people, Deja Hill and Jamar Ragland, 2 people who can help them achieve or basically explore what's there, but then decide what they want to do and help them put a plan together to get there. And in some cases, in the city of Muskegon especially, but in the county too, you can get MCC nearly for nothing, depending on the various avenues and supports you can pull down. So Jamar Ragland, Deja Hill, write those names down, because those are people who are part of your cultural wealth if you're watching the show and you're thinking about MCC as a possible pathway for you.
I will say too, the Michigan Tuition Incentive Program is available for anybody who's ever been on Medicaid for 36 consecutive months in their life, whether it was 1 to 3, no matter when, okay? The number is 1-888-4-GRANTS. If you qualify for TIP, it's called TIP. If you qualify for TIP, that's books and tuitions at a 2-year, books and tuition at a 2-year university, free. They pay for it. There's TIP 1, TIP 2. So there's 2 different ones. Call 1-888-4-GRANTS and see if you qualify for that. If you're on the fence and you're like, I don't know, and you might be able to go for free. And then I think that's a great opportunity. Some people downplay community college sometimes. Personally, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for you to stay in your community, work, and prepare yourself for the next step. And on top of that, it's a lot cheaper. And so, you know, if money's an issue, if you're like the rest of us and have student loans, you know what I mean? It's a great way to cut back on what you owe after you're done with your education. So look into that. That's a great opportunity.
I
And
know
after you find out you qualify, then your next step is to fill out that FAFSA. And you know, there's plenty of staff out at MCC. There's staff at Baker. There's staff in your high schools, Muskegon MC, any high school, anywhere. There's adults that can help you through that FAFSA process. And you know, even if you're not 100% sure that you want to be in a college in the fall, there's you know, you can use FAFSA to help pay for cosmetology courses at Nuvo. You can use FAFSA to help pay for, you know, a medical assistant program at Ross. You can use it a lot of different ways. So don't limit your options by not filling out that FAFSA.
Well, I'm just going to say this, in the spirit of the guilt that Marie Williams put on my heart for straying so far off my diet of usually having vegetables and so forth today. Thank you, Brent, for helping me down the path of temptation. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, split the difference. So the second sandwich that I was going to eat and had every intention of eating, I'm now going to bring home and give to my dad, who loves US 31 barbecue, because he's also allowed me to use his car this week while I fix my car. So thank you, Marie, for helping me be a better me, at least 50%. Chauncey, it's all you.
Right. Pretty sure I'm all set. Man, that sandwich was good. I like the relish. The relish on it was all right. Made it add that little twisted sweetness to it.
It needs a little Frank's on it, though.
I like it as is. I like it full Monty.
Yeah, just a little dab.
All right. So, well, that's the end of our live hour. Thanks for tuning in to the MCEC Fam Show, the place where the center of your child's education is magnified in a collaborating community.